first panel to blow out. All right, we are back down here, and all this has been sitting for a week. Actually, when did we leave? Sunday, today's Saturday, 6 days. Zero anything on all this. All those valve springs, all perfect. Obviously all the rocker assemblies, perfect. Everything is exactly the way we left it. Zero specks of any type of rust or anything. And let me show you, this is our engine rebuild kit that packed up to go on the plane. Handle doesn't go down anymore, but I'll show you how we pack this stuff. So, bring on the plane. This is what Steve sent us, which is a couple spare rods. We're going to reuse the rods that are in there. Going to check all the bearings. But we've got 8 new pistons in here. We also have new rod bearings. Suppose these are smaller bearings. Over in this half over here was some other stuff that we needed, which is some random tools, but rings. We also have the shock sensors to replace. This is also this wheelie bar sensors. Like I said, some random tools, but Steve already filed all these rings, so should be able to assemble this. More spark plugs, stuff like that. So this was our carry-on bag to get basically an engine rebuild kit down here. So we'll get on this in the morning and work on getting this completely tore down, headers off, everything ready to go. So that's tonight, getting in here. All right, so last night, Aiden and I got everything tore apart, heads off of this, and the cylinder walls are perfect. There is not any rust or anything on them. All great shape. So all good there. That was our worry, was that possibly there could have been some rust or whatever down in there, but that is all good. So we got both heads off. We just have to drop the pan and then start to pull the pistons and rods out, and we will do that here today. And then yeah, work on getting her back together again tonight so that we can go test. But I mean, all good. Anything that we looked at, and that's another cool thing about the SMX is literally intake manifold still in place, heads off, and both sides. So we will be able to saves undoing all that fuel stuff, getting all that stuff out of the way, all the wiring and all of that stays intact. But yeah, all good stuff. But, we'll catch back up with you as we start to get this back together, or as we're putting the pistons in. I'll try and give you guys a little update on that as we pull those pistons apart. Andy, the Mad Australian, actually lands here in a little bit from the airport, so I have to go grab him and bring him back. And we didn't want to have all the fun without him, so we figured we would wait until he gets here so we can do some of that. He only had like a 19-hour flight, so he should be good to go. What's up, boy? You lose your jacket?
Yeah, mate. Oh, yeah. I got one here.
What, you lose your jacket there?
Yours for the red car, mate. You got room in there or what? Yeah, nitrous and shit.
Holy shit, dude. How big a bag? You know it's only 2 weeks, man. Come on.
Pistons and rods and big spare bearings.
Yeah, you didn't bring us any parts. I know you didn't.
Is this the new one?
The next day.
All right, guys, before I get into why everything now looks like this, after a day at the track, I'm going to take you through each one of the runs and let you know how it did, what changes we made, and how we got to where we are right now. So going to start with the first run. So you're going to see it right after this, and it was, the clocks did not work. So everything seemed good with the car. All the data was good. We got a 102 60 foot's the only number that we got out of the whole thing. But that, let you look at that run right now from in the car, outside of the car, and everything. Get over to Sick the Mag, subscribe to Sick the Magazine. So you subscribe to it, you get not only the magazine, 4 double issues a year, you also get access to Freedom Plus live stream during Sick Week and Sick Summer. So if you're a subscriber, you'll get a code before the event. If you are not a subscriber, go subscribe to Sick the Magazine, and then you'll be able to watch the event for free as well. Now, the other thing you can do, come join us in February. So it's only coming up in about a week. Get down to Sick Week and see us at the tracks down there, or subscribe to Sick the Magazine. All right, that was a good first lick. Everything was good. It chattered a little bit, but it drove through it. So definitely, I mean, we'll see what everything says. I don't think we can ask for a better first rip than that. Here's the daily that driving around, running errands with, because that's the stuff that was in the trailer. So when we had the rig down here, we don't have another vehicle down here except 2.0, this and the golf cart. So, but driving this around town, and it's cool the looks you get from everybody, because everybody loves this car, and it's such a, I mean, it's an 8-second beater, but like no open headers, and hey, it's good. It's, hey, knock on wood, pretty reliable. But now on the second run that we made, which we'll let you go ahead and see the videos first of everything, and then I'll take you through the numbers, show you the time slip.
really don't know. Something just felt weird. And obviously whatever came to a stop on the track.
All right, that was actually supposed to go 1,000 foot, but idiot me, when I saw the transition in the track from the 8th mile, I thought I was in the shutdown area. That's what happens when you don't make runs for a little while and you gotta get comfortable again in the seat and in your surroundings. But yeah, so that was another 102. 102 off the line, 268, 388, 388 to the 8th, 207 miles per hour, which I think is actually my fastest mile per hour, because I think 206 in the 8th was the fastest mile per hour that I'd been through the chutes after the 8th, and it went 611, 163 out the back. Obviously, I mean, chutes out, mile per hour way down because it was slowing down, but good solid run with it. Me with the transition part, so making good progress. We did make some suspension changes with it, a little bit on the tune-up. What we found out is that 8th mile, all our fueling and everything's good. It's after the 8th that we have to work on a little bit, that we learned at the NHRA race, that we just want to tidy that stuff up a little bit. But hey, good second run, right down the track off the trailer, which is more than a lot of other people that we're testing could say, is we were able to get down the track each time. Now, it did almost lose a tire a couple times, but it was able to drive through it. So now we will get you over to let's get you over to that next pass that we made. So the third pass.
that was good. We definitely screwed up and forgot to cool down the trans and check the trans temperature. Bad on my part, so I don't know if you saw it in the corner of the screen, but she just, whatever, she boiled over right there. So
all right, as you can see there, nice pass. Went a little further with it. It did slow down though, and actually what had happened, if you saw at the end of that, is oil coming out of the overflow on the transmission. We turned the car around quick. We never cooled down the transmission, so the transmission was a lot warmer. Also, the suspension wasn't working exactly the way we wanted. It had more wheel speed than it should have had, so that obviously would have slowed the car down. And I mean, numbers takes you the same thing. I mean, a 104 60 foot, 272 to the 330, 393 to the 8th at 205. Went out the back with the chutes out at 590, 220 miles an hour. So coming off that pass, we knew we needed to make some suspension adjustments. I actually thought that would probably be the last pass for the day, but we need to do one more, try and get further down the track with the suspension adjustments and see what's going on. If you notice too, like in the videos, if you can see the car as it's going down track, you watch the back hike up. That is the air stuff that we've got in there, because the car at Chicago, it was rubbing through the quarter panel. So it's something we've had happen in the past, because there's so much downforce on the car at speed out the back, and it's basically compressing the shocks all the way down to where they are on the bump stop. And obviously as the tires grow, the car gets shorter, that's causing it to rub through. So we've added the air, which is supposed to help obviously with traction and everything. So we've got to determine that as that air comes on. It's kind of like a radial car to a lesser degree, that it's driving that tire into the ground, lifting the back end up at the same time. And you can see that happen in those videos. But that's that third pass. So now we made changes to it, and the goal is to run a quarter mile on this last pass. So we'll take you to that pass and see if you can hear the pop at the big end of the track.
that's not good. Sneezed. So, not sure what caused the sneeze. Well, we'll see what that's all about, but didn't sound good. Aiden came to get me with the golf cart. Golf cart died. So then Zach came and is pulling a convoy back with me, Aiden, on the golf cart with Zach's truck. All right, that's a wrap on testing day at Orlando. We gotta look at stuff because we actually had the belt break, assuming that's the oil pump and the fuel pump. So obviously, I mean, they both went away, and then that caused the burst panel to blow out. All the plugs so far, Andy's taking a break right now, but like once we get those other 2 plugs out, so far 6 plugs, all have tips, all look good. So hopefully it's just that. The pump seems to turn freely, so the pump didn't lock up. But I mean, we'll just have to analyze and make sure that's all good.
All right, the results of that pass brings us to here. Great pass, great off the, great going right down the track, suspension adjustments, everything we wanted. It was going to probably be my PB in the quarter mile. It was definitely my PB mile per hour to the 8th. But when it broke the oil pump belt, and that's attached to oil pump, fuel pump. So basically you're at 9,000 plus RPM and literally fuel pressure, oil pressure. Now, good thing is because they're tied together, engine shuts off. Bad thing is you're at 6,000, 7,000 RPM with no oil pressure. So that takes us to where everything's at right here and what we're going through. And I mean, I'll take you through that, but to cover the run with you, 101 60 foot, so 267 to the 330, 386 to the 8th at 208.91 miles per hour. So basically 209 miles per hour. So now we bested the mile per hour again. And it shut off about 1,000 feet. Obviously, like when all that happened and I throw the chutes, I mean, it still went 582, but at only 225 miles an hour. So 582, normally I'd be 255, approaching 260 or whatever, if that was a 582 pass. But I mean, that was definitely going to probably be the PB that I've had, probably a low 570 pass with it. And obviously, I mean, we like to find these things. We want to find the problems before sick week is what we keep saying as we address the different issues that have happened. Motor was running great. Everything was running great. And just a failure, hopefully a failure of the belt. Like, I mean, we'll take you through the oil pump. Aiden's got that apart. We got to check the fuel pump and go through all of that. So we'll take you through all of this stuff that we got going on here, but wanted to get you through those passes. So definitely all the bearings trash from that oil pump failure. The belt, which is over here, we are not sure if the belt was just age or did it lock up. And so far, I mean, Aiden pulled the oil pump apart. Everything seems good there. He's putting that back together. There was one little nick in there, but it wasn't anything that should have locked the pump up for a second and broke that belt. And I mean, the other is the pump. I mean, it free turned. So there is the fuel pump on the front of there. We can check that as well to check on there, but it did This one rod, the pin, the locator pin, it did start to spin the bearing, which is, this is number 2 right here with that. So heads off, and Andy replaced that rod with one of our spares. Putting that back in. Is that the same piston, Andy?
Yeah.
Would you clean it up a little bit?
No, I just want it.
Gotcha. So, but everything seems in good shape there. Did pull off the main caps, so stuff looks pretty good, but we do have another set coming to swap those out. The bottoms. Why would the bottoms look good and the tops wouldn't, Andy? Why would the bottoms look good but the tops wouldn't?
That underlight pushes that upwards, see?
What's that?
When we're doing that under bearings, the pressure goes upwards, not downwards. Pushes the top bearings.
Gotcha. Most everything else seems in order, but we got another set of those coming to roll those in. And we found our oil leak, which it actually must have been when we had the heads pulled off, that we must have pushed and released the intake on the back there. That's why the intake's off there, because we had an oil leak in the back here that trying to find, and it, once we unbolted the intake, it came right off. It wasn't stuck back there. So that was the issue. That was the issue there. We do have burst panels coming tomorrow to put that back together. Bearings coming. What else? Oil pan gasket, because that one's kind of on its last leg. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we get all these parts tomorrow and get it back together and it will be running. Then we have to run back to Michigan and get ready for sick week from the event standpoint. Come back down here to take this to Gainesville to be able to test. So I guess we'll give you an update later today once we have this all back together again. Well, actually that'll be tomorrow. So, but we'll get it as far as we can tonight and then go from there. All right, we have to head to the airport. It is real close to being done and ready to fire. So all the bearings are in there, everything is together. Literally, it's just buttoning it up, but cutting it close with getting to the airport. Show you the bearings that came out of there. Definitely when that oil, like when that belt came off, I mean, you could see number 2 was real bad. Now we've pulled the main caps and you just see that whatever. I mean, they definitely, I mean, nothing was, I mean, they were starting to wear. Crank's all good. All those parts are good. Hopefully everything is back to normal. There is that belt that came off there. So don't know like if it jumped or what happened, but thankful for getting parts overnighted to get everything we needed this morning. Well, actually came in about lunchtime, and hey, we'll have to pick up on this next week. Before we head up to Gainesville. So there is the update on where it's at.